I'm David Sable, bringing you the video edition of my LinkedIn newsletter, Imagine. Imagine is all about questions because I truly believe that the only way to get to great answers is to ask great questions. So, thank you for joining me on my quest. Today we're going to talk about equations. I love equations. If only I had known back then that algorithms are equations, but so it goes. But I love solving for X. And today we're going to talk about solving for the missing X in the marketing equation. So we could begin by talking about what does business face in this brave new world. And it is a brave new world. We're a world where COVID has changed or has at least accelerated the changes that we were all experiencing. And there is no new normal. Every day is a change in this COVID world. But I want to start talking about people first. So what do people face? If you're like me, then really what you're saying is, I'm just overwhelmed. There's so many choices. All I really want to do is get through my day. So do me a favor, don't bother me unless you add value to my life. So how do we add value? How do we as marketers add value? So I think you can turn it into an equation. It's very simple. We take information, the notion of informing. We take education, to educate, and entertainment. We entertain. And we put that over, we add them, 1 + 1 + 1, so information plus education plus entertainment over enablement. Because today in the marketing world, enablement is the key. That's the secret sauce. That's the difference we have. We can enable almost anything. We add our service and product, and then we add that missing X. We'll talk about it. And that equals loyalty. Because you're adding value to my life, but still, we're not sure what that X is. We got to get to that X. That's really, really important. So what else? What else do we face? Well, how do we add value for businesses? And by the way, businesses are saying the same thing that we are. But it's a little bit different. So if I'm a business, I need to think about the market. I add the customer, and I take my business knowledge. I put that over channel knowledge. There's all these channels that I can go to. I have to add accountability to my ROI. My stake in the game, how much am I investing? Do I have any big ideas? Plus X, whatever that is. And that leads us to success. Well, what do we all face? How about technology that empowers consumers to keep us out of their lives? And there's a ton of that kind of technology today. Well, very simple. Undifferentiated products and services, undifferentiated ideas, added to irrelevant executions and the wrong channels, minus X here. And my friends, we have a lockout. People don't want to talk to us. Well, this X is beginning to look really powerful. But let's go back and think about some of the drivers. What are the drivers here? The drivers are really important, right? Because drivers in any equation are the things that really make the difference. So relevant messages that people need, respect for ROI, quick response to bring product to market, courageous, make it happen attitudes of marketers and developers, differentiation, that's memorable ideas that touch people's lives, and understanding that technology is actually transparent or needs to be transparent to consumers. They don't care how many wires go into the box. They don't care how many lines of code you wrote. All they want to know is, does it work? Does it add value? Idea-driven focus, critical, and seamless strategic thinking and execution, linking all channels, whether they're online, offline, digital, or otherwise. So now let's get to that missing X. I believe that we find the missing X by thinking about bandwidth over brandwidth. And let's think about that. So what's bandwidth? In my language, for my sake, Bandwidth is the full spectrum of channels accessible to the audience, to the people who are reading, watching, viewing, experiencing. Think about that. The full spectrum of channels accessible to them. It's not just about digital or not digital. It's not about AR or VR or some other R. It's the full spectrum of channels. It's everything that they can access that is important and relevant to them. And you know that the world has converged. In fact, it never deconverged. It was always converged because we've always added channels, right? And we know it's about where and how and when I can be acquired in what I'm doing. People tend still to confuse the medium and the message. I never understood that. Your digital brand assets are part of your brand's power. They're not separate. Today, they're part of the DNA. And here's a thought. Think about online in a different way. Up the game here. Online should mean when the customer is engaged with the brand, no matter where they are or what they're doing. You want the customer, the consumer, the user, the buyer, online with your product, with your service, with your brand, with you. So we know that the big pipe that we talk about gets narrower and narrower. So we start with all the tactics, but as we go down the channels, it gets narrower and narrower. And you have to think about that. It's important. So now we understand the notion of bandwidth. Let's look at brandwidth so we can get to the solution. Brandwidth is really simple. It's the full range of meaning inherent in any brand. And remember what I said, your digital assets are part of your brand DNA. So now I have bandwidth and I have brandwidth. I can get to the missing X, and it's really simple. The missing X is the ability to create seamless ideas that pay off in multiple channels, expanding and contracting in real time. Ideas that add value to people's lives. That is the missing X. If you put that X, this notion of bandwidth over brandwidth, in all those other equations, you will be successful. And you'll create customer loyalty, you'll create customers that are important to you, and you will give your customers, your users, your buyers, your clients value. So, thank you. Thank you for listening to Imagine. Read Imagine, listen to Imagine, share Imagine, and remember, it's all about the questions. Thanks.